The Vaxrian War Master Kethros had conquered 17 star systems before his 23rd molt. His kind were apex predators, evolved on a death world where gravity crushed most species into pulp, and the atmosphere itself was caustic enough to dissolve bone. Standing 3 meters tall with obsidian scales that could deflect plasma fire, Kethros was fear incarnate. When he entered the neutral trade station Epsilon 9, every species in the commerce hub fell silent. Even the proud Centaurian merchants with their crystalline exoskeletons averted their multifaceted eyes. Kethros strode through the main concourse, his tail sweeping aside display stands as lesser beings scrambled out of his path. He was here for one purpose: to meet the human delegation that had requested an audience. The audacity alone amused him. Humans, those soft-bodied mammals from a backwater world, wanted to negotiate trade rights through Vaxrian space, as if they had anything worth offering. The conference room was designed for intimidation, all black stone and dim lighting that favored predator species. Kethros settled into his chair, which groaned under his half-ton mass, and waited. His translator device hummed against his throat, ready to convert his growling language into something these mammals could comprehend. The door opened. A single human walked in. Kethros felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: hesitation. Not from the human's appearance, they were as unimpressive as the briefing suggested. No natural armor, no claws, no venomous fangs, just pale skin, forward-facing eyes, and a strange calmness that seemed completely inappropriate given the situation. "War Master Kethros," the human said, extending a hand in what the briefing had called a handshake. The human's voice was steady, lacking the tremor of prey. "I'm Ambassador Chen. Thank you for meeting with me." Kethros ignored the extended hand, his predatory gaze fixed on the human's eyes. Those eyes. They should have looked away by now. Every species knew to avoid direct eye contact with a Vaxrian. It was a challenge, a prelude to combat. But this human maintained eye contact, unwavering, as if completely unaware of the biological imperative screaming at them to flee. "You waste my time, human," Kethros rumbled, his voice like grinding stone. "Your species has nothing we require. Your worlds are weak, your military laughable, your technology primitive. Why should the Vaxrian Empire grant you passage through our space?" Ambassador Chen finally lowered their hand and sat down across from the War Master. Still calm, still meeting his eyes. "Because we're persistent," Chen said simply. "And persistence is our greatest weapon." Kethros's spinal ridge flared in what passed for laughter among his kind. "Persistence? Against plasma cannons and dreadnoughts? Your world would burn in a day." "Maybe," Chen acknowledged with an unsettling smile, "but you'd never stop fighting us." "Not really. See, War Master, we've studied your conquests. 17 systems, each capitulated within months. Fast, efficient, overwhelming force. But you've never fought a species like us. And what makes you special?" Kethros leaned forward, his massive head now less than a meter from the human. He could smell them now. No fear scent, just that strange mammalian warmth. "Your prey. I can see it in your biology. No weapons, no armor. Your ancestors were hunted by creatures that would seem like hatchlings to my kind." "Exactly," Chen said. And that's when Kethros noticed something that made his predator instinct scream. The human's pupils had dilated slightly. Their heart rate had increased. His thermal vision could see the blood pumping faster. But these weren't fear responses. They were excitement markers. The human was enjoying this confrontation. "Our ancestors were prey," Chen continued, standing now slowly circling the table. Kethros's eyes tracked the movement automatically, the predator in him cataloging threats, hunted by everything. Big cats, bears, wolves, even tiny parasites. We had no natural weapons, no armor, nothing but our brains and our stubbornness. And you know what we did? We didn't just survive. We conquered. Every single predator that hunted us is now either extinct or exists only because we allow it to exist. We turned wolves into pets. We put the descendants of saber-toothed cats into our homes and dressed them in sweaters. We didn't outlive our predators by being stronger. We outlived them by never ever giving up. Kethros felt his claws extending involuntarily, a threat display. "You dare threaten the Vaxrian Empire?" "No," Chen said, finally stopping, hands resting calmly on the back of their chair. "I'm explaining why you'll give us trade rights. Because if you don't, we'll find another way. And another. And another. We'll reverse engineer your technology. We'll establish colonies just outside your borders. We'll make alliances with your rivals. We'll wait generations if we have to. We've chased prey across continents for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. We've spent centuries perfecting ways to kill things that could kill us with a single swipe. Patience isn't just a virtue for humans, War Master. It's a hunting strategy. The silence that followed was broken only by the environmental systems humming. Cathros's combat computer was running threat assessments, but for the first time in his military career, it couldn't provide useful data. This wasn't about physical threat. This was something else entirely. Your species, Cathros said slowly, his translator device struggling with the uncertainty in his voice. You are pursuit predators. Persistence hunters, Chen corrected. We jog our prey to death, literally. And War Master, empires are just very large prey. Cathros's tail had stopped its aggressive sweeping. His spinal ridge had lowered slightly. In his long life, he had faced creatures that could tear through starship hulls, species with venom that could kill in seconds, and warriors who could move faster than his eyes could track. But he had never encountered anything like this. A prey species that had turned predation itself into an art form, that used time and persistence as weapons, that stared into the eyes of the galaxy's apex predator and saw only another obstacle to overcome. One trade route, Cathros said finally. Monitored. Limited tonnage. Ambassador Chen smiled that unsettling smile again. For now, that's acceptable. We're patient. We can wait for more. As the human left the conference room, Cathros remained seated, his massive form still for the first time in hours. He accessed the galactic database and began researching human history more thoroughly. What he found chilled his cold-blooded heart. A species that had survived ice ages, supervolcanoes, plagues, and countless extinctions. A species that had looked at the impossible and simply decided to wait it out, to keep trying, to never stop moving forward. The Vaxrian Empire had encountered its first true predator, and for the first time since his hatching, War Master Cathros understood what it felt like to be prey. In the corridors of Epsilon 9, the other species had noticed something unprecedented. The Vaxrian War Master had negotiated with a single unarmed human and granted concessions. Word spread quickly through the commerce hub and beyond. The humans, it seemed, were not to be underestimated. Ambassador Chen walked back to their shuttle with steady, patient steps. After all, they had all the time in the world.